Hello, this is our Habits final group presentation for group H012. My name is Kayla Halini.
I'm Emma Helgeson.
I'm Renata Herrera.
And I'm Hugh Green.
First, we must introduce the novel written by James Clear, which provides a detailed guide of how to both build and break intended habits. Throughout the process, the reader is gifted with the steps to adopt new beneficial behaviors while learning to break bad habits. The purpose of the novel is to show how, by making small, incremental changes each day, the reader has the ability to create a plethora of positive change in the long run.
Our brains are so much more predictive than we realize. We take in and process so much information that when we experience something repeatedly, our brains begin to notice only what is relevant. We don't have to be consciously aware that we haven't eaten in a few hours, our body simply tells us. The same principle applies to habits. As we form them, they become automatic. The process of pointing and calling, also known as making our bad or effective habits blatantly obvious to ourselves, can help us increase our awareness. This is something that we all can practice in order to increase mindfulness and realize exactly what it is that we need to change, as most people have a lack of clarity, not motivation. With that, habit stacking can help us break these bad habits, pairing a new habit with a current habit. Over time, you create a positive association between these two habits. Additionally, small changes can lead to larger changes in behavior over time, which we will all speak more on later in this presentation. New and organized environments can give us the space we need to break these bad habits because we're no longer fighting against old cues that drive these bad habits. And finally, after this bad habit has been consciously broken through in the first law of behavior change, you now want to do the opposite, making the habit invisible. Having to practice this level of self-control is only temporary. Over time, we do not need to continue putting in the same level of effort in order to continue this habit.
Moving on to the second law of behavior change, this law is known as make it attractive. By making our habit seem more attractive, the habit is more likely to be adopted by us. From this, behaviors that are highly habit forming create higher levels of dopamine, creating a dopamine-driven feedback loop. We can create this loop by using temptation bundling, which involves pairing the action we want to do with an action that we need to do. In short, we complete our habit and grant ourselves a reward afterwards, which makes the habit much more attractive. We can also make a habit more attractive by surrounding ourselves with others who normalize the desired behavior, and with people that we have something in common with. These people have the ability to both uplift us and support us through the journey of forming a new habit, and can include family, friends, and others. Finally, creating a motivation ritual where we complete a task we enjoy immediately before performing our habit can help to ease the difficulty of performing the new habit, making the process much more attractive and enjoyable.
The third law of behavior change is make it easy. What this basically means is that when attempting to acquire habits, the best way to implement a new habit quickly is to make it easy for yourself. The best way to do this is to just go out and practice doing your habit instead of planning out exact days and times you want to do it. If you keep doing this new habit repeatedly, it will become second nature to you in no time. This is shown by the graph on the right side of the screen. As your repetitions go up, the habit will become more and more automatic. The number of times you perform a habit is much more important than the amount of time it has been since you started. For example, if you go to the gym every day, it will become a habit in no time. But if you only go once or twice a week, it'll take much longer for you to acquire the habit. So, acquiring a habit can be a piece of cake as long as you make it easy for yourself by putting in the repetitions so that automatic habit formation can take place.
Moving on to the fourth and final law of behavior change, this law is known as making it satisfying. By making a habit more satisfying, it increases the odds of us repeating the habit or behavior again. While the other three laws assist to ensure that the habit is going to be performed, the fourth law ensures that the habit is going to continue to be performed and repeated. A way to get yourself to repeat the habit is sticking to the cardinal rule of behavior change. The rule states that what gets immediately rewarded is repeated and what is immediately punished is avoided. Another thing that makes habits more appealing is having a habit tracker. A tracker allows the individual to have a clear visual proof and evidence of their progress with their habit. Journaling your day also allows you to analyze and understand how you truly felt incorporating the change into your day. Finally, while satisfaction is beneficial short term, it is important to make sure that that habit also aligns with your long-term goals as well.
Then moving on to habits we formed and broke. The habit I personally formed was meditating every morning for 5 minutes and then journaling in the evenings for 10 minutes. On the other hand, the habit I broke was skipping breakfast on weekdays. Most mornings, I had a tendency to hurry off to my 8:30 class as soon as I woke up, usually forgetting to eat breakfast on my way out. To break it, I implemented a couple of simple changes in my lifestyle, waking up 15 minutes earlier than usual, and then making sure to go to the grocery store once a week. As I completed my journal entries about my personal experiences with forming and breaking these habits, there were a few consistencies that really stuck out to me. Lately, I've been developing avoidant behaviors when it comes to getting homework and other tasks done. But as I implemented these habits, I began to realize just how valuable they were in helping me take control over my life. Practicing mindfulness through meditation and journaling helped me become more self aware about the flaws in myself. Additionally, the presence of others was instrumental in developing these habits. For example, journaling with my roommate really helped me continue the habit because she was a daily reminder of the commitment I had made. With that, I developed a new perspective on routine. Before beginning this habit, I saw the act of routinely practicing this habit as something that limited my independence, but I soon realized how much more productive routine has made me. I was more motivated to finish assignments early and spend time doing the things I enjoyed, which is one of the reasons I was really able to stick with this habit.
The habit that I wished to form was to write in my planner more in order to be more organized, and the habit that I wished to break was spending too much time on my phone. From this process, I've learned many important lessons in the pursuits of forming and breaking these habits. First, some of the strategies that help the most include temptation bundling, environment design, and creating implementation intentions. Through implementation's intentions, I found it so much easier to know where to start and to have a specific reminder of what I need to do. Completing my habit in a space where I commonly find myself was also important in making the habit process as easy as possible. Finally, temptation bundling made me anticipate a fun reward, providing the initial drive for me to complete my habit. I also learned that failing is a completely normal and acceptable part of the habit forming process, and the days where I did fail motivated me more to get on track the next day. After the 3 weeks of habit building and breaking were over, I noticed that my motivation for completing my habits had increased as these new habits became a daily part of my routine without a second thought. Overall, I would say that my personal experience was a success.
The habit I decided to form was to go to the gym at least 5 days a week, every week. And the habit I broke was eating unhealthy snack foods on a regular basis. So, for acquiring my new habit, I wanted to implement this into my life as I was looking to get into better shape. To do this, I made myself keep a journal of every day for the first 2 weeks, whether I went to the gym or not. For the first couple days, I went every day and worked out. Then I missed a day, which I was not very proud of at the time. However, I kept my head up and went every other day that week. I only missed one day the next week, which I thought was very good. For the habit I lost, I allowed myself to eat just one snack food per day, and this went very well. I did the same thing by keeping a journal of every day of food I ate, which really helped me stay on task. In the end, I feel like I was successful in both acquiring a new habit and losing a bad one.
As for my personal experience, the habit that I wish to form was going to the gym at 7 a.m. and sticking to a schedule. And the habit that I wish to break was checking my phone while studying, especially when it was something that I was really important. So for this experience, what I learned was that the smallest rewards are really satisfying. So check marking or drawing an X on the box of the habit is a great reward. The second thing I learned was that everyone builds and breaks habits at their own pace. So when I was building my good habit, I didn't struggle. Instead, I found myself more and more motivated to go each day to the gym and stick to that schedule. And when I was trying to break my habit, I struggled with not looking at my phone, but I was still able to break it through certain steps. I also learned that failing is completely normal and acceptable part of the habit forming process. So overall, I would say that my experience was successful because over the course of time that we spent building and breaking these habits, I found it uncomfortable for the good habit to not be part of my day.
Moving on into a summary of Atomic Habits. Was a perspective changing book that was a really great read when your goal is to create effective habits and reduce ineffective ones. As we mentioned before, the book is broken up into 4 different sections, each providing details about a specific law of behavior change. The laws themselves are to make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. The simplicity of these rules provides a framework that the everyday person can implement into their lives. With that, there are many valuable takeaways from the book that I want to leave you with. To begin, the importance of focusing on changing a system, not your goals or desired end product. Oftentimes, what we need is to take a step back and figure out exactly what it is that is stopping us from kicking that bad habit. Likewise, we need to gain the perspective of who we are trying to become, not what we are trying to achieve. When we focus on making those significant changes, the habits tend to come more naturally, and then we become intrinsically motivated. We are trying to break habits to become the person we want to be, which is a powerful source of motivation. And finally, perhaps most importantly, the realization that an atomic habit is a regular practice or routine that is small or easy to do, but has powerful implications for our own personal growth. Reading this book has provided me with a new appreciation and understanding of how influential and powerful an atomic habit can truly be.
Throughout this experience, our group was able to come together and discuss our thoughts and our personal experiences with applying James Clear's methods to creating and breaking our habits. After sharing our own opinions, we all agreed that James Clear's tactics work efficiently for us and greatly aided in our ability to change our behavior. For instance, we liked how the process was broken into 4 concise parts with an outline plan of what we need to complete, while offering strategies to assist us in each part of the process. On the other hand, we do suggest that there should be some modifications to the process. For example, we found that completing the same habit every day using the process could become somewhat redundant and repetitive. We suggest that there maybe be other strategies and techniques that can be added to keep motivation and morale high, as we sometimes found ourselves completing the habit just to get it done. Taking that aside, our advice to you is that if you wish to acquire a habit, using James Clear's methods offers a great way to begin.
During this semester, we learned some very important lessons from reading the Atomic Habits book and completing the activity assignments. One of the most important things we learned was that habits are essential components in every person's life. We also learned some ways of implementing new habits and losing bad ones. One important part of these is to stay focused and on task at all times. If you're staying focused by making sure to improve yourself every day, acquiring new habits will be a breeze. One other thing we learned was to not get discouraged if you have a bad day. Just because you miss a day of your new habit, it's not the end of the world. Never look down on yourself, as there is always tomorrow.
And how can this impact someone's life? So, atomic habit is about recognizing the patterns and behaviors we exhibit in our everyday lives that contribute to our happiness, success, and overall well-being. So once we have acknowledged these and begin to implement them into our lives, we can learn to alter and form new healthy habits that will help us to accomplish our goals and lead to a more enjoyable life. So this is our references, and then thank you for listening.